So now we'll dig a little bit into what Stable Diffusion can do. We've already just like briefly explored Midjourney and DALL-E, seen some images. You can explore that a bit more on your own. The reason I've chosen Stable Diffusion is pretty simple, and there are three for that actually. The first is that it is open source, so it allows us to be a bit more conscious about how it's working. There's a bit more transparency. There are a lot more people working on it, so you can choose what kind of format you want to go with. Then the second, of course, is that it works in Google Colab, which is sort of kind of free to some extent, but Stable works pretty well even in the free version, so that's really good. And the third reason is that it gives you a large range of settings. Now, DALL-E doesn't give you any settings at all. Midjourney has some settings, like you can fix the aspect ratio, have some kind of random seed, kind of different things. And of course, neither of them offer this kind of animated format that I have been posting on Instagram as well. These are specifically tools that people who have been exploring and experimenting with Stable Diffusion have created. So if you are on slide 23, you can look at this particular collab. There are three links here. I'd recommend the first one, which should give you this small shots, this collab here called Shorthand Deforum Stable Diffusion. Now, this is basically Deforum is like a group or a community of people who've been working on Stable Diffusion and building it in a particular way, specifically for animations. You can join their Discord to know more. And they've also the ones who've been kind of updating mostly for the animation and kind of like really playing with the settings quite a lot. So this has been the one that I've been kind of going to. So this is the one link that you need to open, and the second link you need to open on slide 24 is huggingface.co. Huggingface.co is a sort of AI community space. People put their experiments, they put their data sets and models and things like that. And I mean, from the pros like Runway ML and Stability AI themselves, right up till anybody who's trying their hand on it. So once you've signed in and confirmed your account, you will need to go to the section here. Here on the top right, there is a settings, and in the settings you will see that my name is computational dash mama. Yours will be whatever you saved it as. And here at the bottom on the side on the left side, you'll see an access token section. Now here you'll need to make a new token. Yours might be empty. I've been doing this a bit, so I'll say new token. I can name it whatever I want. I can say C Mama Workshop, or you can name it whatever else you like. Just keep the role as read and generate the token. So here you see at the bottom I have a token. I will say copy, and then I will go to the Colab file here. Now Colab is a Google product. What it basically does is it allows for an interactive notebook on a browser, which basically means you can have short snippets of code and they can run on any kind of computer, so long as there's a browser and internet. And they are not limited to having detailed setups, like setting up Python on Windows is quite a task. I don't know anymore, but it, at least for us for a while, and other kind of limitations of figuring things out on your own computer, which may or may not have all the kind of bells and whistles. So what it does, it latches onto the server farms of Google, specifically the GPUs that they have, and based on the uh, level that you tier that you have, whether it's free or pro or pro plus, you have a higher chance of getting those particular GPUs. Now basically this means is that if I'm on free, I still may get a chance to get a good GPU, but the chance is a little bit lower. I'm on pro, which is about $10 a month, and this will work perfectly on the free version, so don't worry about it. We just need to play these cells. Now each cell has some code in it. You don't need to worry about the code. You just need to play the cell, and then there are some settings that we'll play around with a bit. Now the first is of course to connect it and play this GPU, NVIDIA GPU thing, so which is basically calling an NVIDIA GPU specifically to run the Stable Diffusion model. This particular notebook, and in general many Colab notebooks, tend to connect to your Google Drive and save all those images that you'll build with the AI work on it. Now, if you are someone who doesn't have a say a large drive, or your drive is full, there's a short video in the playlist that will share with you how to access it locally, save it, and then continue your project. So once I get the green tick, I can play the next cell basically. So this one is going to ask me to load the Google Drive. Sorry, these things take a bit of time, so just be patient with it, but know that once you get a good handle on using Colab Notebook, this or others that are available over the internet, it makes your work really easy to try new experiments. So here it's loaded some drive folders. You'll notice that they are here on the left, here in drive. There's this little icon here, drive, and my drive, and all of my personal folders will turn up here. And this is the folder that we're looking at, AI. So it's got your stable diffusion folder, and whatever I'm saving every month is turning up with that particular month and the year. So, and the model is saved here, so that will show up in a different format here. So I'm going to run the next cell. You can shut this if you want to. Sorry, this does take a bit of time, so just be patient with it, let it run. uh, Use Chrome, of course, and don't worry, like, it'll take the same amount of time if it's pro or not pro. It's just a matter of what GPU you end up getting. So usually when you're on the free version, you get a Tesla T4, but don't worry at all, it works absolutely fine. There's no issue at all. So here we've run this file, this cell. Now we'll go to the next one. That's run too, great. Now we'll play this particular one which says select and load model. Here for me, now this is going to be a little bit different for you as it is for me, that I already have all of my uh, details downloaded. What you will get here, now just please observe with me a little bit. Right, so this is what I wasn't able to show you, but this is what it'll look like once you hit play. It'll ask you for your Hugging Face username. So mine is this, and then I'll hit enter, and then it'll ask me for the token. So I'll head back to getting the token from here, paste it here, and hit enter again. And once that's done, it'll say attempting to download the packet that it needs. And once that's done and you get the green tick, you're good to go. So just remember, first your username and then your Hugging Face token. So here what we'll do is, now that we've got all our settings running, what we need to do is to get our animation going. So your first setting, of course, is to keep it on 2D. At this moment, I would suggest maybe do like 60 or 120 frames to generate. For the video, I'll just keep it at 60. Here you'll see that it has no value for angle or zoom or translation or X and Y. What this basically means is that the video, every frame it makes, it'll zoom a little bit, generate a new image, zoom a little bit, generate a new image, and so on. So usually the zoom works very beautifully. I can show you some examples of it. So something like this one, No, this one doesn't have any zoom in it. This, of course, this is made in a different kind of a tool, but you can see that it's kind of zooming in to the video, and every frame is generated in a different way. You can even probably see it in this one, I think, or maybe not. Sorry. Yeah, you can see a very slight zoom, that's kind of going in almost like it's zooming into that particular video. So usually, to keep it like very slow so that it doesn't look so intimidating, you can, after the colon here, delete the 0, put a bracket, say 1.004. You can experiment with this, of course, but this makes it look quite like comfortable, and doesn't change it out too much. And then keep these both at 0 for the moment, but you can again experiment with it as you prefer. I'll hit play here now. And now that exercise that we did with your prompts, I will go back to that. And I'll take 2 prompts from here. So you can see I have one prompt that says woman, and I have one prompt that says Agnes Wong. That's the only difference in these 2 prompts. Copying them. And here there are 2 aspects. There's a prompt section, and then there's an animation prompt section. Do not do anything to this, just let it be as is. Here in the animation prompts, we can designate that after X number of prompts, X number of frames, change the prompt. So if it was, say, first a woman eating a meal on a table, and then I want to change it to a woman folding her laundry, or a woman catching the bus. So I can not suggest, but rather program the system to start using that prompt at that particular frame count. So say the 0th frame is the first frame. So here I will add the first prompt that we have, which is of the elder sister. And then the format, as you can see, is 0 colon. So that's the first frame. And in double inverted commas, you add the prompt and followed by a comma. Hit enter, and here you can keep it at, say, 30, because we have 60 frames in this. So I would say like at half. So 30 frames are going to be the zooming in of an elder sister who's not described in any other way. And after that, at the 30th frame, we will change it out to her name as Agnes Wong. Now, in the previous video, I have discussed how names can change the way the person turns out to look. So, because Agnes Wong is a very Asian sounding name, it will probably give us an Asian looking woman. So, I'll hit play here, and you'll see that it's given me a green tick. Now, this is the setting that's most important. It gives you all the details of how the Stable Diffusion program will run. It also will add a small file to your text file to your drive, which will save all of the prompts that you added. So this is really, and the settings that you added. So this is really useful to go back and see how you did it. Okay, so here we keep the width and height as 512 by 512 pixels. You could change this out. Usually you have to do it in multiples of 512, but say after 1024 it stops working and it gives errors, so usually I try to avoid that. Now seed is basically the random seed that it starts from. It's just a number which kind of prompts it to create it in a particular way. One is different from another, just like how generative coding art can be. Steps is how many steps it should take to like how perfectly it should build it, and scale is how accurate and how true to the prompt it should be. So now this is something that we saw in the slides here, that I did a specific one here called clip variation. So you can see that this is a scale of 4, and now you can see the details are turning in. So this is a scale of about, I think, 7, going up to 11, and then finally to 14. And just like with art as well, like after a point, if you keep painting on top of the same piece, it's going to start looking garbled almost. So if you take the scale up beyond, say, 20, it will start kind of looking a bit nonsensical. Then what you can do is change the name of your folder. So here I may call it I don't know, stable workshop test maybe. Leave this as iterative, and then you hit run. Now I will explain to you why we left it at iterative. So because we left it at -1, there was no seed value which we added. It has taken its own random seed value which you see at 252010 something, right? So that is the first image it gave. Okay, that's quite macabre. And then the second image is 108 sorry, 59520. So basically iterative means that after it set that first random seed, it's now just taking every frame is just shifting a little bit, which is how you get that very beautiful um, sort of style which looks like it's just changing a little bit every frame. So that's what it's doing here as well. So 60 frames is, I think, a good point to start. It'll give you a very small video, but at least it'll get you going. And then of course you can keep trying. I mean, I've tried up till about 1,000, but it takes quite a long time to generate it. And then you can also like build the prompt out. So say I have 100 frames, I can say, okay, from 0 to 25 give me this first prompt, then from 26 to 30 give me another one. So I can just say at which prompt frame number the prompt needs to change out. And you can even mix it up. You can bring back an old prompt at a later point and kind of play around with that idea as well. So here we're at 36 frames. I think this should be fine, and I think you can see that once it went past the 30th frame, the prompt changed to Agnes Wong, and the lady started to look much more Asian. So this random seed really makes a difference. Now, of course, this prompt is from someone from the first batch of the workshops, Eddie. And if you see Eddie's prompt, same prompt looks so different here. So it's really about what global seed number you set it to, and maybe you want to add your own or let it just be random and take its own course. So now we've run this, it's almost done. Once you're at the last frame, it'll stop showing you the loading format and just leave it there and give you a green tick. So here is where things can get a bit messy, but don't worry, we have a separate video on how to make the movie with another collab file. Let me see if I'm able to make one here. Yeah, so it gave me the same error. So I will now go back to this section here, and here if you notice I have added on slide number 25 a collab link that says animate any series of images. So the other video is available for this, just have a look at it and you can change that out. Hopefully it'll work. And if I go to my Google Drive and the AI folder, so these are all the frames that we did, starting from 00 right here at the very bottom up till 59. So 0 to 59, that's 60 frames. We're still waiting for the video to turn up, but while we are doing that, I'll just show you the settings. So every time you run the collab, you will get a small text file with the settings which shows every single detail, right from the dimensions of your artwork, the seed that you used, the steps you used, the scale, where the folder is saved, and where the output directory is, and then even all the prompts of course are there here. So you have all those details, and then say like in the future when you want to, like, say maybe use the same prompt or same seed, or just want to remember what you did for a particular setting, you have all of that available to you. Right, I think this is done. So here we have our output. So of course it's just about a few seconds, but you can see that it's changing from a fairly white looking lady to a more Asian looking one. So that's it. So that's how you run stable diffusion, the shorthand. I will just quickly run you through the other stable uh, diffusion collabs as well, and then it will give you an idea of what settings you can use, how detailed it can be, etc. So I'm not going to run this because again it's going to take a long time, but basically the animation settings is what we've been using. So here you see that it's a same thing, animation mode, number of frames, and here there are a lot more settings, and a lot of this information is actually available on a very simple nice document. I'll add it to the slides so you also can check that out. So I'll add this here too. Yeah, I'll add it to this slide 24. Settings guide is what I'll call it. I think this should be really useful. And here you'll observe that it's got all the kinds of settings that you can run for each of them, set it up. So basically what we did today is all of this, so nothing new here. It's just a matter of a bit of patience and figuring it all out. You can go through all of the settings. It will tell you, okay, what does each of those particular term mean, what you can do to change it out a little bit, all of that, and of course how to get the prompting going in the correct way. I recommend reading this. I think it will be really useful if you want to continue using stable diffusion. Of course, for you, those of you who are still feeling not so comfortable to go really deep into Colab, you can definitely use the GUI AI. Talk to them, maybe they'll set it up a little more for you guys. They're really open right now because it's all in like testing and beta. So let me know if you want to connect with them. I can connect you. Here you can add your prompts. Their format is a little bit different, like you can see here. You just put a, like our prompting was say like this. Their prompting is without the quotes, and just put a extra this kind, I don't know what this particular sign is called, the that straight line, and then it'll take the prompt specifically in that way. You can add how many frames you want and just hit run, and it'll give you something really beautiful looking. So say we can add this here. Let's see if it works. So I'm removing the comma and adding this bar kind of a thing. Hopefully it works. So here of course we don't have any control over this, like the zooming and things like that. So this is a little bit like just for you to test out and see what's happening. Right. So the final thing was of course the settings, and in the animation there are a lot of interesting settings for you to move the camera around, zoom it, turn the angle, translate it in X direction, Y direction. So like doing a pan kind of a thing, rotate it. You can do some kind of flips and things. So my recommendation is to go through more resources on the net when you feel comfortable, but don't be overwhelmed by them right now. So the best bet for you to like continue trying and experimenting without feeling too overwhelmed is to just use the shorthand staple diffusion file that I have. My recommendation of course is also to save a copy so that it's easy for you to use it, and someone else's changes aren't affecting yours. and keep trying, keep experimenting, and connect with me if you need to for anything. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.